Save this now. We're going all in on October. This is part 1 of the 31 horror movies that you need to watch this month. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet, so you should probably subscribe at least to get parts 2 and 3. From new releases to milestone anniversaries, from holiday celebrations to underseen exploitations, these are the first 10 to your 31 to watch for Shocktober 2025. I am here for it. Let's go. Check your local listings. Some of you are going to have to wait until the 3rd, but if you can, start your watching on the 1st with an early access screening to Good Boy. Not to be confused with the outstanding 2023 horror movie of the same name, Ben Leonberg's Good Boy tells a haunted house story from the perspective of a dog. What sounds like an impossible premise actually has outstanding early reviews, lauding it as a totally new approach to the genre that's entirely successful. I will tell you straight up, they do anything to that fucking dog, me and all of them are gonna riot. And that's why this movie is gonna work, because these heartstrings have not yet been pulled. I couldn't be more down for the single movie, but hopefully it doesn't start a trend, because nobody needs like a vampire dog movie. Actually, exactly. All right, so outside of just wanting to be the first one there, the reason why you had to catch Good Boy in early access is because the 3rd is ridiculous. I'm only going to give you 3 required watches outside of Good Boy, but if you're looking for extra credit, Shell, Slurry, Scared Shitless, and the series Monster: The Ed Gein Story all drop that day. The first required watch that I'm going to give you is the Shudder premiere of VHS Halloween. The 8th overall in the franchise, this looks to be diverting from the sci-fi motif in last year's VHS Beyond and taking things back to a straightforward, old-school horror approach. Comprised of 5 vignettes and a wraparound that serves as 6th, VHS Halloween comes mostly from directors of short films, but it does include a segment by Paco Plaza, the creator of the legendary Rex series. And there's nothing wrong with this serving as the launchpad for new talent. Keep in mind that when the original came out, Radio Silence had nothing under their belts. They've since delivered Ready or Not, 2 Scream movies, and an Abigail. You never know who's gonna be next. That's true, nobody thought of Justin Long as like a horror creator at this time last year. But then he and his brother did the best segment in VHS Beyond, and now here we are. I wonder what he's up to. Funny you should ask, because your 3rd film is going to be Coyotes. Simple enough premise, Justin Long and his real-life wife, Kate Bosworth, star as a family that are living in Hollywood who have been targeted by a pack of coyotes. The film is directed by Colin Minahan, who, as one half of the Vicious Brothers, previously gave us It Stains the Sand Red, Extraterrestrial, and the Grave Encounters movies. If you've not heard, Long and Bosworth announced that they will be producing a Grave Encounters reboot. I'd at least assume that this led to that. Your final required October 3rd watch, 4th overall for the month, is going to be Bone Lake. I have no idea where this movie came from, but over the past month, it's everywhere. From Mercedes Bryce Morgan, the director of 2022's A Spoonful of Sugar, Bone Lake looks to be a darkly comic tale of a couple that ends up having to share a mansion with a mysterious couple that they don't know. Lies, manipulation, secrets, and violence will run through both couples as they try to navigate their situation. And if you think that that all sounds a bit on the serious side, let's just keep in mind that this is one of their pieces of marketing material. Oh, don't roll your eyes. You remember this? Who did this? Yeah, you fucking grown-ass man. Remember this one? Who did this? It's funny. Yeah, me loving dumb jokes like that is probably why on the 4th I want you to celebrate with me the 20th anniversary of Satan's Little Helper. Okay, so listen, I am not bullshitting you. This is one of my favorite movies ever made. This shirt that I'm wearing was made by friends of mine like 18 years ago because there's like no Satan's Little Helper merchandise. Yes, there is this mask that I absolutely spent $150 on as soon as it was announced. Do you want to co-host for the rest of the episode? I've even dressed myself up as Dougie one Halloween. Before you go into it, let me frame it for you. I don't think that Satan's Little Helper is like the best movie ever. I've watched it enough times that I can rattle off all of its faults. Yes, I've heard about Amanda Plummer looking high as fuck through the entire movie, and yeah, she does. I've heard complaints about it not being scary. I've heard that the kills are scant and lame. But straight up, I don't think that that's the story that Squirm and Blue Sunshine director Jeff Lieberman was trying to tell. I think the objective to this movie is to tell the story of what it feels like to be the weird, awkward kid on Halloween. That's something that I know that I can relate to. I doubt you'd be watching me if you couldn't. Case in point, you see what all of the normal kids do on Halloween. They're out trick-or-treating. Protagonist Douglas Woolley is only concerned with finding Satan so that he can send his sister Jenna's boyfriend down to hell. It is endlessly quotable, and if you know me, I've likely quoted it in your presence, likely several times. But you probably didn't know it because nobody knows this movie well enough to pick up on quotes from it. Let's change that this year, or I'll make you have diarrhea all over the place and puke your guts out. Either before or after that, you're also going to want to set yourself up for our 6th flick, the 40th anniversary of Demons. Known as Demoni in its native Italy, perhaps Lamberto Bava's best and most well-known work supposes what happens when a blind man, a married couple, an unmarried couple, some frat guys, some punks, a pimp, and some prostitutes, amongst others, go out to the movies and are infiltrated, you guessed it, by demons. Demons was co-written / cleaned up by Dario Argento, who recruited Claudio Simonetti's Goblin for the score, while Billy Idol, Accept, Motley Crue, and Saxon were brought on for the soundtrack. Though not the first, this is an earlier entry to the metal horror crossover. Now, fair warning, if you are unable to suspend disbelief, if you can't get past ludicrous plot progressions, maybe you skip this one. It's not the most coherent giallo, which is a largely incoherent genre as is. But if a batshit crazy movie with wild special effects and makeup are enough for you, this is sure to do the trick. Alright, so after 6 movies in 4 days, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break until the 9th for movie number 7, the 10th anniversary of The Final Girls. A frequent entry into lists of the best horror movies that you've never heard of, or horror movies that are destined to become cult classics, The Final Girls has everything that you want in a horror comedy. Years before Time Cut and Totally Killer and even Happy Death Day, The Final Girls features Taissa Farmiga and Malin Ackerman being transported into a 1986 slasher flick called Camp Bloodbath. Obviously a send-up on the Friday the 13th series, The Final Girls does horror comedy in the correct way that Ghostbusters or Shaun of the Dead do, where the comedy is funny, the horror parts are scary, and they intertwine seamlessly. I'd love to see this finally come off of all of those lists of what it's going to be and was just something that was regularly acknowledged in the cultural zeitgeist. Maybe this year. Now on the much more serious side, the 10th brings us the Paramount Plus release of Vicious. Vicious introduces us to Dakota Fanning's Polly. Polly receives a box which she is supposed to fill with something she needs, something she loves, and something she hates. Doing so triggers a dark reality that she has to unravel before it consumes everything that she knows. Yeah, but Paramount Plus releases an exclusive horror movie every Halloween. Those so far have been a dog shit Paranormal Activity sequel, a horseshit Pet Sematary sequel, and a bullshit Rosemary's Baby prequel. And that's a fair argument. Counterpoint, this is an original flick by Brian Bertino, the man that gave us The Dark and the Wicked, The Monster, and The Strangers. Not The Strangers Chapter 1 or 2, the 2008 original. This feels to me like they know the issues of the prior things that they've done and they're trying. All right, that sounds fair. I'll give it a shot. Cool. I mean, if you're not into it, you're not into it, but I'd wager that you would be able to find something in our ninth flick, Steven Kostanski's remake of 1983's Deathstalker. More a sword and sorcery hyper-action flick with horror elements, the original Roger Corman-produced Deathstalker was a late-night cable staple, and it spawned 3 sequels. After laying dormant for a good number of years, Manborg, The Void, and Psycho Gorman director Steven Kostanski announced that it would be rising from the grave under his direction. Now, I'm not huge into these kind of movies in a modern sense, right? I don't give a shit about Hercules or Clash of the Titans or anything like that. But Kostanski doing this low-budget practical effects, I'd put my money on this not being huge upon release, but the word of mouth will get it to the people who it's going to resonate with. I did my part, go do yours. And our final flick of the first 10 will be on the 11th as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of Silver Bullet. Based on the Stephen King story The Cycle of the Werewolf, Silver Bullet follows a pre-Lost Boys Corey Haim as Marty, a paraplegic teen living in a town where a series of gruesome murders begin. Marty discovers that these slayings are attributed to a werewolf, but knowing that the local adults won't believe him, he knows he has to slay the beast himself. Silver Bullet is underrated as both a werewolf movie and as a Stephen King movie. No, it is not the best of either of those subgenres, but the creature effects are great, the characters are solid. This is an annual 4th of July watch for me. We just held off because it's the 40th anniversary and we wanted to celebrate it on the right day. I hope you'll do likewise. And there you go, cretins. That does it for the first 10, creeps. Do all these things. Let me know which of these you're going to be watching in October, and I'll be back in a few days with movies 11 through 20. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See them yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support horror, and support Satan!